Okay, so I've been wanting to do kind of a tour of my video game collection, but uh-oh, where did it all go? Oh no! Oh, look, there's my shadow. Hi. This is where I used to hold all my NES, Super NES, and, well, I still do, but my Nintendo 64, Atari, and some other random stuff on this shelf here. But the problem with these kind of shelves is they don't utilize vertical space very well at all. Like, they only go up to, I mean, this is barely up to my chest. You know, these are about 5 feet high. So they don't utilize as much space as they could. Ones like these that actually have a top are nice because it gives you one more row to put stuff on than you would have with a shelf like this, which the only real top is, you know, the top of the thing. Like here I've got all my TV DVDs and my Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Sega CD. Yeah, I do have a couple of those. So shelves like these are even less efficient than shelves like these. And there's one other kind, which I still use this for my DVD collection and other random stuff, and Blu-ray. So these are okay. These work all right. They're adjustable. Most of these kind of shelves are adjustable, which is cool. You can, you know, they got the peg holes, so you can, you know, raise and lower these shelves as needed. So these are okay, and this kind of goes under my window here, so this one works. You know, I don't plan on getting rid of this one. There's my random pack of crackers. But my biggest project was taking all of this stuff out of here and putting it there. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? You see, this is a shelf that I built directly into the wall using these metal tracks here. I hung 3 of them, you know, bolted them into the wall using number 10 screws and anchors, which gives them a lot of strength. Like, I really am not worried in the slightest about this thing coming down. So yeah, there you have it. That's my current classic plastic shelf, and conveniently I have this game chest which fits right underneath it, and I have all kinds of, it's dark in there, but I got some random stuff in there. I got some controllers, and just bought a car. There's my welcome packet from CarMax that really pertains to gaming. Oh, and I have a Ocarina of Time, which is pretty cool, and it works. It's a real working ocarina. My brother gave this to me. So yeah, I do have quite a bit of game stuff, and the main thing I wanted to do with this shelf or these shelves, is make them as space efficient as possible. Right now I've got 7 shelves here, supported by those 3 metal brackets. As you can see, I've got quite a bit of room up there. I could probably fit, depending on what I was going to use them for, I could probably fit 3 or 4 more shelves up above. But I think I'm okay with it for now. It is an expensive project. You know, I went to Lowe's and got all the supplies. These shelves themselves are really nice. They are 8 inches by 36 inches, so 8 inches by 3 feet. So they're pretty nice. They're about 5 something a piece. Bought 7 of them. These metal racks here, the little brackets, they're about $4 or $5 a piece. And then you got to buy these hooks. That's how these work. Is you get these brackets, you hang them on, you bolt them into the wall, then these hooks stick out of them, and then you lay the shelves across. So that's how this whole setup works. You just got to buy a lot of pieces and then put them all together. Each one of these hooks is about $2 each, times 7 shelves. That's 21 of them. It's about 40 bucks. Or yeah, 3 of these each for shelf. Three of these for each shelf, times 7 shelves. Little side note: there's my Angry Video Game Nerd pin or button, whichever you want to call it. Got that. I bought, I think, the second AVGN DVD set. I bought it from Screw Attack, and they just threw that in. I was like, cool, thanks. So anyway, getting to my collection, this is pretty much the meat of my collection right here. Not counting the other stuff, the Xbox, PS2, GameCube. This is pretty much the meat of what I'm going for here. NES is obviously my biggest collection so far. Probably will always be. Currently I'm sitting at about almost 140 unique titles. I own a couple of unlicensed, which we'll go through and we can show you some stuff. Before we get to that, the top shelf here I used for a couple of consoles. I've got my Nintendo 64 with, I believe, the expansion. Yeah, the expansion pack. Remember that thing? Required for certain games like Majora's Mask and Donkey Kong 64. Then the Sega Dreamcast, which I still think is a cool system. What do I have in there? Some kind of compilation starter disc. It's a cool underrated system. It died before its time. I believe it had more potential than it was utilized for. Compatible with Windows CE. Oh, that's badass. Then we've got the Virtual Boy. I actually own a Virtual Boy. It actually works. I think it's got Mario Tennis in, if I can get this fucker out of there without making this thing fall. Oh, okay, Galactic Pinball. That works. So I do own Mario's Tennis somewhere. So I own about 2/13 of the Virtual Boy library. It's a very small library, and it does work. It is a horrible, horrible console, but it's cool to own for novelty's sake. I got it for pretty cheap on eBay. Came with the stand, which I don't keep it on because it's a little rickety. Here I got some Game Boy systems. I do have every iteration. I've got the Game Boy Pocket, which this was pretty cool for its time. It had a much better display. It was black and white instead of that green and dark gray that the original Game Boy had. The only problem with this thing is that it had horrible battery life. It is the worst battery life of any Nintendo system I've ever seen, except maybe this fucker up here, but he doesn't count, do you? Nah. So, but yeah, cool system. It didn't really last long because literally like 2 years after this thing came out, we got the Game Boy Color, which much improved battery life. It runs off 2 AA's. It runs a good 20 hours at least. The battery life is as good as the original Game Boy, and it uses half the batteries. So that's pretty cool. I've got another monochrome Game Boy Color. But these all work. And then I've got the original Brick Boy. Look how big that thing is. Take a look at the Game Boy. I'm trying to make my shit fall over here. Next to the Game Boy Pocket. Well, I don't know if this will stand on its own, but this thing is like an inch thick versus, I don't know, a phone book. I mean, this thing is big. It runs off of 4 AA's, but for novelty's sake, it's cool to own. I mean, lots of memories with the Game Boy. So, let's put these back up there. And yeah, now we've got my NES collection. I'm not going to show you each and every game. I mean, who cares? What kind of boring video would this be? Because I'm sure it's really interesting so far. But, yeah, just a couple of notables. The single most expensive game I have ever bought right here is Action 52, probably the worst NES game I own. It's in fairly good shape. The label is, it's peeling a little bit, and kind of that's why it was part of why it was so cheap. But it's a surprisingly heavy cartridge, and it does. The Angry Video Game Nerd did a review of it, and when he said it got really hot, he wasn't kidding. And it does emit a very foul, burning plastic smell when you play it. So, oh, and speaking of these things, when I used to shop at Funcoland way back in the day, they gave these out, and I remember because all the NES games had these awesome sleeves, and I was in there all the time. I always shopped there. I probably annoyed the shit out of them, but I remember one of the employees there, he just handed me a fucking huge handful of these things folded up, and I took them home and I put every one of my NES games that didn't already have a black one, one of those black ones in it. And I remember on the back, I actually wrote the up here, like I would write the title, the year it came out, the publisher. I went all out. I'm not quite that insane anymore these days, but yeah, a couple other. Just gonna scroll through here. Yeah, Jaleco the game. No, it's just bases loaded. Back to the Future. This doesn't really. I tried to get it to work. It's one of the few games I own that I can't get to work right, and I have the top loader, so I know it's not the system. Battletoads. Battletoads is a really cool game. It's one of the hardest NES games, and one of the few games I could think of that's impossible to play with 2 players. Like, I can't fathom beating that with 2 players. Like, maybe 2 people in the world have done it. What do we got here? We have Bible Adventures. Sorry, I kind of have to... It kind of takes 2 hands to get these out of this Funcoland sleeve. But yeah, Bible Adventures. Not very rare. It's about a $5 game. Another one of those games I got because the nerd, reviewed it. So yeah, there's Bible Adventures. One of my favorite games, Bionic Commando. You cannot go wrong with Bionic Commando, man. Let's see. Got a few more notables. I do own all 3 Castlevania games. A good friend of mine, Brandon, you know who you are, buddy, donated this one to me, Castlevania 3. So that completed that puzzle. He also sent me this one, coincidentally, Cobra Command. Let's see, Contra, Super C. Crystallis, my friend Josh, this is one of his favorite games, and I played this a long time ago. I really loved it. It's a really great game. Deja Vu, this is another classic. I really like this game. It's one of those point and click adventure games. It's very similar to Shadowgate, but I've always loved this game. I could pick this up any day. It's only like a 30-minute game if you know how to beat it, which took me years how to figure out, but it is a fun game. Dick Tracy. Let's see, got the Donkey Kong. First 2 Double Dragons. I don't have 3 because it's a piece of shit. Dr. Mario. Dragon Warrior, which I still have yet to ever beat. I've been playing this game about 20 years and have never beaten it. That's how hard it is. The final boss, it takes like, I don't know, an hour just to get to him, and if you survive getting to him, that's hard enough. Then you have to beat him. Ugh, just fuck that game. Here's another unlicensed. This is... oh, Exodus, that's right. Journey to the Promised Land. Not a whole heck of a lot to say about this one, but it's another one of those Bible games. It's alright. Here's this game. I never know what is the official pronunciation for it. Is it Faxanadu? Is it Fazanadu? Fucksanadu? I mean, I don't know. But this is another classic. I never really hear anyone talk about this one. It's one of my favorite NES games. It's just a side-scroller, sort of action RPG, kind of similar to Zelda 2, where you level up. You don't really level up your attack skills, but you know, you earn money to buy stronger weapons. Really fun game. Great soundtrack. I love the visuals. Oh, that's the end of row 1. Row 2. Let's see. We got the original Final Fantasy, which one of the hardest RPGs ever. Fuck that game. Friday the 13th. This is a pretty lousy game. The gray cart versions of Gauntlet and Gauntlet 2, not the Tengen versions. That doesn't really make them any more rare at all. Let's see. Just kind of going through here. Gyromite, the Rob game, which I can't play. You technically could play it with 2 controllers. Journey to Silius. This is another underrated title, which has gotten more, thanks to the internet, you know, more people know about this game. But this is a pretty fun game. It's a great soundtrack too. Let's see, we're sort of running out of time, so I want to kind of just skip through both of the Zeldas, of course. You know, you can't not have those. Let's see, Maniac Mansion. I can't not mention this game. This is probably my 2nd or 3rd favorite game of all time. Just, I mean, so many memories playing this thing growing up. It's just one of the funniest. It's so packed with Easter eggs and red herrings. It's just such a blast to play. I'm proud to say I do in all 6 of the NES Mega Man games. I mean, obviously these 2 right here are the most important ones. 2 and 3, baby. But I'm proud to say I own all 6, and number 6 I owned thanks to, yet again, Brandon. Thanks, buddy. We got Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which I just recently finally beat. Mike Tyson, one of the hardest end bosses in game history. I finally beat him just recently, a couple months ago. Very proud of that. Let's see, Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the better LJN games, I have to say. Down here, we've kind of already passed the better stuff, but got a couple of good ones down here. We got River City Ransom. We got 2 of the Simpson games. I think there's a couple more I don't have, but we got Space Mutants and Versus the World. We got Snake's Revenge, the unofficial sequel to Metal Gear. Well, I guess it is the real sequel. It's the sequel to the NES version of Metal Gear, which was bad. Let's see. Super Mario Duck Hunt, Super Mario Standalone, and then 2 and 3. Which 3 is getting a little more rare to find. Or not rare, but just expensive. You know, people know that it's sought after, so they charge up the ass for it. I've seen it in stores for like $25, which is just ridiculous. We do have all 3 of the NES Turtles games, which these are all, you know, classics. 2 is the best. 3 is pretty good though, I have to say. Yeah, that's really about it. You know, I didn't want to itemize the whole thing, do a complete inventory, but there you have it. That's my NES collection so far. I am working on, you know, really completing it one day. My aforementioned friend Brandon has I think he's got about twice as many, well, probably more. I believe he has over 400. So he's got quite a head start on me. So, but yeah, just going down the list, we are going back to the shelves. I got my Super NES collection, which is okay. It's getting there. I do have a couple of good gems, but that's a very expensive system to collect for. Far more expensive than Nintendo. Got a couple NES games in the box here. Of course, I got Zelda there in the middle. Then I just got my, you know, Xbox 360. I got that Resident Evil 5 Snow Globe box from Game Crazy. Gotta love Game Crazy. 3DS games. Couple of Game Boy games in the box. Couple spare Funko Land sleeves. That box is a coffee mug box, which has all my Game Boy games in it. And then a toolbox, which contains some tools which I built this shelf with. Yay! So that's it for now. About out of time, but that's my collection in progress. Thanks for watching.